We all have that fantasy. The fantasy of leaving our boring lives behind. The fantasy of throwing a backpack over our shoulder and walking into the unknown. We dream of finding places that aren't on the map. We dream of discovering lost tribes, hidden ruins, and untouched paradises. But there is a reason those places are untouched. There is a reason why the maps have blank spots. Nature does not want you there. And sometimes, the person leading you into the wild is more dangerous than the wild itself. Imagine standing on the edge of a raging river in the middle of the Bolivian Amazon. You are 22 years old. You are miles from civilization. Your guide, the man you trusted with your life, the man who promised you gold and glory, has just revealed that he can't swim. He has revealed that he doesn't know the way. And he has revealed that the lost city might not even exist. The group fractures. You get on a flimsy wooden raft to escape. And then the current takes you. You are swept over a waterfall. You are slammed into rocks. You wake up alone, bruised, bleeding, with no food, no knife, and no compass. For the next 19 days, you will not be a human being. You will be a piece of meat. You will be stalked by a jaguar. You will be eaten alive by fire ants. You will feel your own skin rotting off your feet. You will pull parasitic worms out of your own flesh. And as you lie in the mud, waiting for death, you will realize that the scariest thing in the jungle wasn't the jaguar. It was the lie that brought you there. This is the story of Yossi Ghinsberg. It is the story of a dream vacation that turned into one of the most harrowing survival ordeals in history. It is a story of friendship, betrayal, and the terrifying realization that in the Amazon, everything, absolutely everything, is trying to kill you. If you are fascinated by the thin line between adventure and disaster, if you want to know what happens when you trust the wrong stranger in a foreign land, please hit that subscribe ** button right now. You need to hear this story because it serves as a brutal warning. Never follow a ghost into the jungle. The year was 1981. Yossi Ghinsberg was a young Israeli adventurer. He had just finished his military service. He was hungry for life. He wanted to be like the heroes in the books he read. He wanted to find the real South America. He ended up in La Paz, Bolivia. He met two other travelers, Kevin Gale, an American photographer, and Marcus Stam, a gentle teacher from Switzerland. They were fast friends. They were young, naive, and looking for excitement. And then they met him, Karl Ruprechter. Karl was an Austrian geologist. He was older. He was charismatic. He told stories that mesmerized the boys. He told them about a lost, indigenous tribe in the heart of the Tuichi Valley. He told them about gold. He told them he knew the jungle like the back of his hand. "I can take you there," Karl said. "I can show you things no tourist has ever seen." Yossi was hooked. This was exactly what he was looking for. He convinced Kevin and Marcus to join. "Think about it," Yossi said. "A lost tribe, gold, it's the adventure of a lifetime." Marcus was hesitant. He wasn't a tough guy, but he went along with the group. They bought supplies. They bought machetes. They followed Karl Ruprechter into the green abyss. The trek started well. The jungle was beautiful. Karl seemed to know what he was doing. He identified plants. He led them through the bush. But as the days turned into weeks, the cracks began to show. They were running low on food. They were eating monkeys to survive. Marcus, the Swiss teacher, was struggling. He had trench foot. His feet were rotting from the constant moisture. He was slowing them down. And then the mask slipped. Karl, the expert guide, started acting erratic. He became aggressive. He bullied Marcus relentlessly. "You're weak," Karl would spit. "You're dragging us down." Yossi began to notice things. Karl's stories didn't add up. He said he knew the village, but they never found it. He said he knew the river, but he seemed lost. The breaking point came when they reached the river. The plan was to build a raft and sail down to civilization. But Karl suddenly refused. "I can't go on the water," he admitted. "Why?" "I can't swim." The group stopped cold. A jungle guide who can't swim, in the Amazon. The trust evaporated, the tension spiked. It became clear that Karl wasn't a geologist. He was a con man, or a fugitive, or simply a liar who had bitten off more than he could chew. The group faced a decision. They couldn't stay together, the friction was too high. Marcus couldn't walk anymore, Karl wouldn't raft. So they split up. This is the moment where gone wrong turns into catastrophe. Kevin, the American, and Yossi, the Israeli, decided to build the raft. They were young, strong, and wanted to get out fast. Karl, the guide, and Marcus, the Swiss, decided to walk back upriver to a safer route. Karl promised he would get Marcus home safely. It was a heavy goodbye. Marcus looked terrified. He didn't want to go with Karl, but he felt he had no choice because of his feet. Yossi and Kevin finished their raft. They shook hands. "We'll see you in La Paz," they said. They didn't know that they were looking at Karl and Marcus for the last time. They didn't know that Karl and Marcus were about to walk into the jungle and vanish from the face of the earth forever. Yossi and Kevin launched their raft. The river was fast, faster than they expected. They were navigating rapids without helmets, without life jackets, on a bundle of logs tied together with vines. For a while it was exhilarating. But then they heard it. A roar, a deep, thunderous roar coming from downstream. The map showed a waterfall, a massive, deadly cascade. They tried to paddle to shore. But the current was a monster. It grabbed the raft. They lost control. "Jump," Kevin screamed. "Jump and swim to shore." Kevin managed to leap. He fought the current. He clawed his way to the riverbank. He collapsed, safe on dry land. But Yossi didn't make it. He was stuck on the raft. He was swept into the white water. He went over the edge. He plummeted down the waterfall. He was smashed against rocks. He was tumbled underwater, holding his breath until his lungs burned. Miraculously, he didn't die. He popped up in the calmer water below. He washed up on the shore, miles downstream from Kevin. He was alive. But he was completely alone. He had no bag, no food, no knife, no matches. He was just a 22-year-old kid in a t-shirt and jeans, standing in the middle of the most hostile environment on the planet. The first night was the hardest. The darkness in the Amazon is absolute. It is heavy. And it is loud. Yossi huddled under a tree. He was shivering. He realized that nobody knew where he was. Kevin was miles upstream. Karl and Marcus were walking the other way. He was a needle in a haystack the size of Europe. He started to walk. His goal was to find a settlement. But the jungle is a maze. On the second day, he encountered the king. A jaguar. Yossi froze. The cat was staring at him. It was hunting. Yossi had nothing to defend himself with. He remembered a trick, loud noise. He grabbed a can of bug spray, the only thing he had in his pocket, and a lighter. He made a makeshift flamethrower. He screamed. He blasted the fire. The jaguar flinched. It turned and slipped back into the shadows. But Yossi knew it was watching. He didn't sleep that night. Hunger is painful, but the jungle doesn't just starve you. It consumes you. It eats you from the outside in. Yossi's feet began to rot. The constant wetness caused the skin to peel away. He had no shoes. He lost them in the river. His feet became raw, bloody stumps. Every step was agony. Then came the parasites. He felt bumps under his skin. Botflies. They lay eggs on mosquitoes, which bite humans, and the larvae burrow into the flesh to grow. Yossi could feel them moving inside his body. He had to perform surgery on himself. Without a knife, he used thorns. He dug into his own skin. He pulled out the wriggling worms. The pain was blinding, but he had to do it or infection would kill him. He ate whatever he could find. He ate raw eggs from bird nests. He ate fruit he didn't recognize. One day he found a dead monkey. It was rotting. It was covered in maggots. He was so hungry he considered eating it, but the smell stopped him. Just when he thought it couldn't get worse, the sky opened up. A torrential rainstorm. The river rose. Yossi was trapped in a swamp of mud. He couldn't walk. He sank up to his waist. He was stuck there for days. He was covered in leeches. He lost track of time. He started to hallucinate. This is where the mind breaks. Yossi started talking to people who weren't there. He imagined a woman, a companion. He spoke to her. "We have to keep moving, don't give up." He would sleep next to her. He would hold her hand. It took him days to realize that he was holding a tree root. He was alone. He was losing his mind. He begged God to let him die. "Just take me," he whispered. "I'm done." Day 19. Yossi was a skeleton. He had lost 35 pounds. He could barely crawl. He was lying on a riverbank. He had given up. He closed his eyes. And then a sound. Be-a-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra. An engine. He thought it was a hallucination. He had heard phantom engines before. But it got louder. He forced his eyes open. He saw a boat, a local canoe with an outboard motor. And standing in the boat was Kevin. Kevin Gale had not given up. After surviving the riverbank, Kevin had been rescued by locals. He went back to civilization. He went to the police. They told him, "Your friend is dead. Nobody survives 3 weeks alone." They told him to go home. But Kevin refused. He hired a local boatman. He spent his own money. He spent days searching the river, screaming Yossi's name. They were about to turn back. This was their last run. And then Kevin saw him. He saw a skeletal figure waving a trembling hand. Kevin jumped into the water. He swam to shore. He hugged Yossi. They both wept. Yossi looked at Kevin and asked, "Where are Marcus and Karl?" Kevin looked down. "We don't know." Yossi survived. His recovery took months. He had to learn to walk again. But the story has a dark epilogue. Kevin and Yossi, once recovered, launched a search for Marcus and Karl. They went back to the jungle. They hired trackers. They searched for weeks. They found nothing. No footprints, no campfire remains, no bodies. Marcus and Karl had simply ceased to exist. But then, investigations revealed the truth about Karl Ruprechter. He wasn't a geologist. He was a wanted criminal. Interpol was looking for him. He had a history of scamming tourists. He would lead them into the jungle for money and then abandoned them. The police believe that Karl likely abandoned Marcus when he became a burden. Karl knew how to survive. He likely walked out, changed his name, and disappeared. Or maybe the jungle finally got him too. Maybe the jaguar didn't fear his flamethrower. Marcus Stam, the gentle teacher, was the true victim. He trusted a man because his friends trusted him. He walked into the darkness because he was afraid to be alone. And he paid the ultimate price. The Yossi Ghinsberg story is a classic because it strips away the romance of survival. There was no glory in it. It was just mud, pain, and fear. But the gone wrong element is the betrayal. The danger wasn't just the river. It was the decision to follow a man they didn't know. It reminds us that expert is just a label. Charisma is not competence. It also highlights the incredible power of the human spirit. Yossi was soft. He was a city boy. But when the chips were down, he found a reservoir of strength he didn't know he had. He pulled worms out of his flesh. He fought a jaguar. He refused to die. Yossi Ghinsberg returned to the Amazon years later. He helped the indigenous people build an ecolodge in the very valley where he almost died. He turned his nightmare into a legacy. But he never found Marcus. Somewhere in that green hell, the bones of a kind Swiss teacher lie hidden under the ferns, a silent testament to the price of trusting the wrong guide. This story is terrifying because it started as such a fun adventure. It really makes you think about who you trust when you travel. Do you think Karl Ruprechter died in the jungle, or do you think he escaped and lived a secret life? Let me know your theories in the comments below. If you are amazed by Yossi's will to live, please hit that asterisk like asterisk button and subscribe asterisk. I have a story coming next week about a man who was swallowed by a sinkhole while sleeping in his own bed in Florida and was never seen again. Stay safe, verify your guides, and never split up the party.